Late one rainy night, a tired man with torn clothes knocked on the door of a hotel. "Ma'am, may I rent a room for the night?" "Of course, sir," the receptionist replied warmly. "Please come in. Feel at home." "Really, I can enter. I'm dirty. My clothes are ripped. That doesn't matter." "Please come inside." He stepped into the lobby, his eyes widening with wonder. "What a beautiful place. I haven't seen anything like this in years. I've been sleeping on the streets for 3 days. Maybe tonight I'll finally have a bed." After a while, he approached the counter again. "Ma'am, what is your cheapest room?" "Our lowest rate is $250, she replied. $250? I only have $10. "Is there anything small you can give me? Even a mattress on the floor? I don't need anything more." "I'm sorry, sir. Not for that amount." He lowered his eyes. "I understand. I just hoped. But can I at least take a shower for these $10? I just want to clean myself. I need to look decent to find a job. People won't even let me walk into offices like this. I'm sorry. Hotel rules don't allow—" "That's all right. May God bless you anyway." The receptionist paused, then took a deep breath. "Wait, your words touched me. Your intention was sincere. You may stay tonight for your $10. "Are you serious?" "Yes. Come with me." "Thank you. God Almighty reward you." The next morning— "Good morning, sir," she greeted. "Good morning," he said gently. "Last night was the first peaceful sleep I've had in days." The man began, "When the world forgets you, I do not. I can't repay the full price, but may I recite something for you? A verse from the Holy Book." "Of course," she smiled. "When you kneel and cry your prayers, I hear them. Your breakthrough is coming, and it is coming today." Tears filled her eyes. "You don't know. I have been praying those exact words on my knees for weeks. Not a single customer has come in for days. You're the first. I thought God left me, but what you said felt like his answer." The man looked at her with calm eyes. "Then I must tell you the truth, ma'am. I am not homeless." She froze. "What, I own several hotels. Last night I went out. I wanted to see who still shows kindness when there is no benefit in return. I visited more than 20 hotels. Every one of them rejected me, except you." She stared speechless. "I now understand why. God Almighty was preparing you, and he used me to deliver something." "What do you mean? I made a promise to God, whoever helps me, I will bless their life forever. So today I am giving you $1 million. Her hands flew to her mouth. "Is this real? It is. Do you accept it?" "Yes." "I do. This will change my life." Moral: if you are going through hard times, don't lose hope. God is never silent. He is working behind the scenes. When nothing seems to change, he is preparing everything. And when his answer finally arrives, it changes everything at once. Keep faith. Keep praying. Your miracle is on it. 4 starving beggars arrived at a king's palace, trembling with weakness. With broken voices they pleaded, "Your Majesty, we are suffering. We have not eaten for 2 days. Please, give us food and water." "It's useless to me." The king looked at them carefully and asked a single question. "Before I feed you, tell me, what do you own right now?" The first beggar said, "Only some old furniture." The second said, "A dusty bookshelf with books no one reads." The third said, "A broken sewing machine that cannot be repaired." The king paused. The fourth beggar casually replied, "I only own one thing, a large piece of farmland." Then he sent 3 beggars into the dining hall and stopped the fourth outside. They even received food for their families. Inside, the 3 starving men were shocked. Tables filled with pasta, roasted chicken bread, fruits, cheese, and drinks. But the fourth beggar remained outside, hungry, confused, ashamed. When the servant asked the king why he left the fourth man hungry, the king answered calmly, "A man who owns rich farmland should not beg for food." The servant bowed his head. If he cannot feed himself with what God Almighty has already blessed him with, then his hunger is not in his stomach, but in his mind. The truth was clear. A person who refuses to use his own gifts becomes his own biggest enemy. Moral of the story: most of us live like beggars while holding treasures in our hands. We are born with talent, strength, and opportunities, but we choose fear, doubt, and excuses. We build our own cages. We forget our worth. We wait for others to feed us, while God Almighty has already placed the seeds of greatness within us. Happiness is not in wealth. Peace is not in noise. Success is not in begging for help. It is in recognizing your blessings, using what you already have, and believing that you were never created to live small. Hope is the first step. Courage is the next, and faith is what turns a seed into a garden. In Egypt, A little 6-year-old girl walked through the streets selling tissue packs. Despite her poverty, her face carried a bright, innocent smile. She hopped from one person to another, holding out her tiny basket. "Would you like tissues?" As she passed by, she noticed a woman sitting on a bench quietly crying. The little girl stopped, stood before her, and gently offered a tissue. The woman looked at the child, a small face full of warmth, a smile full of hope, and unknowingly took a tissue to wipe her tears. When she opened her purse to pay, the little girl had already disappeared. The woman sat on a nearby bench thinking deeply. Her heart softened. She picked up her phone and sent her husband a message. "I am sorry. I was wrong. Please come home. Let's not fight anymore." Her husband, sitting alone in a cafe, read the message. A peaceful smile spread across his face. In his happiness, he called the waiter and gave him 50 Egyptian pounds. The waiter, shocked, said, "But the tea was only £5. Keep the rest." "It's for you," the man replied. The waiter's face, such generosity was rare. Filled with joy, the waiter walked to an elderly woman selling chocolates on the sidewalk. He bought a £1 chocolate bar and gave her £10 instead. The old woman stared at the note in disbelief. Her eyes filled with gratitude. For her, £10 was a blessing. She quickly packed up her things and hurried to the butcher's shop. She hadn't bought meat for herself and her little granddaughter in months. Tonight she could finally give the child something she had long wished for. At home she cooked the meat with love and excitement, waiting for her beloved granddaughter, the only joy of her life. A few minutes later the door opened, and there she was, the same little girl who sold tissues on the streets, walking in with an even brighter smile than usual. Moral 1. Small act of kindness can heal hearts, mend relationships, lift spirits, feed the hungry, and return to us in ways we never imagined. There once was a small frog placed gently into a pot of cool, calm water. It felt safe, comfortable. Nothing seemed wrong. Then the heat beneath the pot was lit. Slowly, silently, the water began to warm. The frog sensed the change, but it didn't panic. It simply adjusted its body to match the rising temperature. A little warmth is nothing, it thought. I can handle this. The heat rose again. The frog adapted again. I'm strong! I can survive this too. But the water kept getting hotter, hotter, hotter. When the frog finally realized the danger, its strength was already gone. It tried to jump, it tried to escape, but it no longer had the energy. And so the frog died in the very water it once thought was harmless. The scientist watching whispered, "If the frog had been thrown into boiling water, it would have jumped out immediately." But slow, silent danger, that is what destroys. This story is a mirror held up to our lives. Some things don't break us all at once. They break us slowly. A draining relationship, an environment, a job that kills your spirit, a habit that steals your peace, a pain you keep ignoring. We keep saying it's okay, it will get better. I can handle it, I'm used to it. And while we keep adjusting, our strength keeps fading. Until one day, we no longer have the power to escape. The lesson: know when to endure, but also know when to walk away. Do not stay in a place where the slow heat is quietly destroying your heart, your peace, your faith, your life. Sometimes saving yourself begins with recognizing the fire beneath you. Sometimes the greatest courage is simply choosing to jump before it's too late. David and Emma lived a simple, peaceful life. One morning, Emma said gently, "David, don't send too many clothes for washing today. Mary won't come for 2 days. She's going to visit her daughter and little granddaughter." David nodded. "All right." Emma continued softly, "David, can I give Mary $6? She's visiting her family. It will bring her some happiness." David raised an eyebrow. "Why now?" Emma smiled. "I won't ask for extra money. I'll just cancel today's pizza. Instead of spending $6 on a pizza that disappears in minutes, I want to give her something that lasts." David hesitated, then agreed. Mary received the money with sparkling eyes, whispering, "God bless you." 3 days later, David asked Mary, "How was your trip?" Mary beamed with joy. "Sir, that 6 helped so much." David, curious, said, "Tell me, what did you buy?" Mary joyfully counted on her fingers. "A small dress for my granddaughter, a doll, sweets for my daughter, bangles, a belt for my son-in-law, bus fare, and a notebook with a pencil for the little..." He imagined a $6 pizza cut into 8 slices. Then he compared each slice with what Mary bought. Slice 1, dress, slice 2, sweets, slice 3, treats for neighbors, slice 4, travel fare, slice 5, a doll, slice 6, bangles, slice 7, a belt, slice 8, school supplies, 1 pizza for them. For the first time, David felt something shift inside him. He realized that the smallest sacrifice from us can become the biggest blessing for someone else. That day, Mary didn't just sweep their home. She swept the dust off his heart. Moral of the story: a small sacrifice from you can become a huge blessing for someone else. Real happiness grows when we give not when we keep. When fear and exhaustion surrounded little Ayan, he ran to the only place that felt like home, his mother's arms. No words, no magic, just her quiet presence, her steady heartbeat, and the warmth that wrapped him like a protective cloak. She forgot her own comfort, her own fatigue, yet every gentle touch and soft whisper calmed his trembling heart. Her love was not loud or demanding. It was like a shadow silently following him, unseen but always there. In that embrace, the world's chaos disappeared. Ayan felt safe, cherished, and whole. And in that sacred bond, he realized a truth. A mother's love is the closest we ever come to heaven on earth. True love is selfless, silent, and eternal. A mother's embrace can heal even the deepest fears. I was on my way home, lost in thoughts, when suddenly a tall young man stepped in front of me and called out with excitement, "Assalamu alaikum, sir." I returned the greeting, though I couldn't recognize him at all. He took my hands in both of his face glowing with joy. "Sir, do you remember me?" I looked at him carefully. A tall, well-dressed man in his mid-30s with a neat beard and calm dignity. "I'm sorry, son. I don't recognize you," I said honestly. His smile didn't fade. "It's okay, sir. It has been a long time. My name is Naveed Akhtar. You were our class in charge 20 years ago." And suddenly, like a light turning on, I remembered. My heart filled. I stood up and hugged him. "Naveed, I can't believe this is you." Minutes later, I was sitting in his small but beautiful home. He served tea with the warmth of a son welcoming a father. As we talked, I learned that he had a good government job, a lovely family, and a peaceful life. I felt nothing but pride. Then, as our conversation deepened, his voice softened, and his eyes filled with emotion. "Sir, none of this possible if an angel hadn't entered my life." I looked at him puzzled. "What angel, son?" He took a deep breath. "Sir, when I was in 12th grade after my father passed away, we were struggling badly. My mother managed the house with his small pension, but I couldn't pay the college fees. I worked part-time, but the money was never enough. And then the day came when I was expelled for non-payment." His voice trembled. "That night I cried like a child. I felt my dreams dying." He paused, then continued. "But the very next morning, the college called me back. Someone had paid my fees. Every semester without fail, that same unknown person paid it again. Sir, I prayed for that man every night. I begged God to bless him the way he blessed me." He looked at me with deep gratitude. "You were my favorite teacher, sir. Your words used to give me strength. You were my hero, even back then." His story pierced my heart like a prayer that finally found its home. I stood up to leave, moved and humbled. But as I walked toward the door, I heard his broken whisper, "Sir." I turned around. He was with tears running down his face. He walked up to me and suddenly hugged me tightly, his tall body trembling like a child who has finally found the truth. "Sir, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me you were the one who paid my fees?" My breath caught in my throat. He cried harder. "I asked the principal again yesterday, and he finally told me the truth." "You changed my life, sir. You didn't just pay my fees, you gave me my future." By now, tears were flowing down my own face. A small act, a quiet gesture, done only for the sake of God. And yet it had grown into someone's entire destiny. That day, I understood something deeply. A single act of kindness can become the turning point of a soul. You never know whose life you're saving when you choose to give. Silently, sincerely, selflessly. There was once a man who, despite being wealthy and well off, was extremely stingy when it came to feeding his wife. No matter how much money he had, he believed there was only one food worth eating: lentils. Day and night he ate lentils himself and forced his wife to survive on the same dish. Whenever she asked for vegetables, meat, or anything different, he scolded her harshly and gave her long lectures about the benefits of lentils. One day the unhappy wife visited her parents. Her brothers were shocked to see her pale face, weakened body, and tired expression. They immediately knew something was wrong. At first she tried to hide the truth, but after their insistence, She told them about her husband's extreme stinginess and the endless punishment of lentils. Her brothers said, "Leave the matter to us. Just give him this sleeping pill in his dinner." When she returned home, she cooked his favorite, lentils, and mixed the pill into the dish. The man ate happily and soon fell into a deep sleep. As soon as he drifted away, her brothers quietly wrapped him in a white shroud and carried him to a dark, empty room. They laid him on a charpai as if he were truly dead. When the man finally woke up, he found himself wrapped like a dead body. Terrified, he thought he had actually died. His fear turned to certainty when the wife's two brothers entered, disguised as angels, and began questioning him. "Who is your Lord? My Lord is Allah," he replied. "What is your religion? My religion is Islam." "Who is the messenger sent to you, Prophet Muhammad?" he answered. After he correctly answered the three questions, a fourth question came. "What did you eat during your life on earth?" He nervously replied, "I only ever ate lentils, nothing else." At this, the angels struck him with rage. "Why did you eat only lentils? God has commanded you to enjoy the pure and lawful foods he has provided. Yet you rejected his blessings and lived like a miser. Your punishment is to be whipped until the day of judgment." With that, they began striking him with sticks until he screamed and fell unconscious from pain. Immediately, they carried him back to his room, put his clothes back on, and left. When he regained consciousness, he saw his wife and gasped. "I'm alive," she said. "Of course. What could happen to you? Wait, I'll bring you some lentils." She had barely turned around when he screamed, "No!" "Not lentils. The torture of lentils is too painful. God himself has commanded us to eat from his pure provisions. I'm going to the market right now. I'll bring meat today. That's what you will cook." And from that day on, the man never looked at lentils the same way again. Imagine being 12 years old, and your little brother only 8. You wake up in the middle of the night inside a dark cave. No mother, no father, no home. Only the sound of wolves circling you in the freezing dark, a stolen blanket, a fading fire, and the terrifying thought that tonight might be your last night on Earth. This was the world of Rose, age 12, and Thomas, age 8, in Northern California in 1881. Spring stole their mother, summer buried their father, and by autumn the two children were living alone in a cave on the edge of Nevada City. This was not camping. This was not adventure. This was survival, and a heartbreaking story of two children the world simply forgot. All they had was a stolen blanket, a tin cup, their father's old knife, and one stubborn promise: no orphanage would ever separate them. Rose had watched both parents die. She recognized the sound of a final breath. At 12, she understood death, but she refused to surrender to it. The cave kept out the rain, but it trapped the... Rose taught herself how to set snares, how to track rabbits, which berries wouldn't kill them, and how to survive long nights by taking turns staying awake. The townspeople saw them, but no one cared enough to help. Winter arrived like an enemy. The first snow fell heavy and sharp, and then the wolves. One moonless night, Rose heard footsteps on the stones outside the cave. Slow, hungry steps. 4 wolves appeared at the entrance. Thomas woke up with fear burning in his eyes, but Rose pressed her hand over his mouth. "Don't move! Don't make a sound!" Her fingers trembled as she struck the flint. Once, twice, 3 times, sparks died in the darkness. The wolves crept closer. On the 4th strike, a spark caught fire. Rose built the flame like it was her heartbeat. Grass, twigs, wood, anything to keep it alive. The fire rose, but hunger does not understand fire. The wolves and then something inside Thomas broke. Not from fear, but from the unbearable weight of everything he had lost. He grabbed a burning stick and screamed, a scream full of grief, anger, loneliness, and the fire of a child who had no one left to fight for him except his sister. Rose joined him, her own voice shaking the trees. 2 small children, but their courage was larger than the forest. The wolves backed away, 10 steps, 20, and disappeared into the night. The fire turned to ashes. The children crumbled to the ground, holding each other, crying the tears they had held back for too many nights. They survived that winter, and the next, and the next. 3 years later, they found work at a small bakery. But Rose had one condition. Thomas must stay with her. Always. 10 years later, they owned that bakery. No big sign, no loud claims, just honest bread and an open door for anyone with nowhere else to go. Rose hired abandoned women prisoners and lonely children. She never mentioned the cave. She never needed to. Outside the town, the cave still exists. Inside its cold, scratched into the rock, are the letters RW plus TW, 1881. But what is not written there is the truth. Inside that cave, fear did not win. Courage was born, hope was born, and 2 forgotten children chose to live. That night, the wolves asked them a question. How far will you go to protect the ones you love? Now the same question belongs to you. If life pushes you into your own dark... Amina was known as a loving mother, gentle at heart, kind by nature, and deeply devoted to her only son Noah. But like many parents, she feared something quietly. What if my child fails? What if he falls behind? What if I am not a good mother? That fear lived inside her like a trembling shadow. Whenever Noah struggled to read a word, her voice would rise. Whenever he paused too long while solving a question, her eyes tightened in frustration. She thought she was teaching him, but Noah was freezing inside. He was only 6. One evening, as the sun sank behind the mountains, Noah's hands trembled over his notebook. He wasn't thinking about letters or numbers. He was thinking, how do I stop Mama from being upset? Not, how do I understand this lesson? Amina didn't notice until one night she found Noah's tiny drawing under his pillow, a small book. Her heart shattered. She knelt beside him as he slept, tears warming her palms. At that moment she realized a truth every parent must know. A child cannot learn when he is afraid. Fear places the brain into survival mode, not learning mode. A child who fears your voice cannot hear your wisdom. A child who watches your anger cannot see your guidance. When you raise your voice, something inside him becomes still. When your eyes burn with frustration, his heart quietly bruises. And he begins to believe, I am weak. I can't do it. I am not worthy. That night, Amina remembered something deep and spiritual. Children do not listen with their ears first. They listen with their hearts. And a heart touched by fear closes its doors. A heart touched by love opens worlds. From the next day, Amina changed her tone. She knelt when she spoke to him. She touched his shoulders softly. She let patience replace pressure, and Noah bloomed. He asked questions again. He smiled while learning. He started trying, not because he feared punishment, but because he felt safe. Amina learned a lesson she wished she knew earlier. A disciplined child is not the one who obeys in fear, but the one who grows in peace. A brilliant child is not created but by patience. A confident child is not shaped by harsh words, but by gentle hands. Children don't need perfect parents. They need parents who heal themselves so they don't pass their own wounds to little hearts. Love is the language that builds futures. Softness is the light that guides souls. Patience is the seed that grows greatness. Before sleeping that night, Amina whispered, I want you to learn with joy, not fear, with hope, not pressure, with love, not pain. And for the first time, Noah hugged her tightly and said, Mama, when you speak softly, my heart feels alive. Because children may obey when they're scared, but they only truly live when they feel loved. Evelyn had always been known for her gentle heart. Her friends trusted her. Her neighbors admired her. But there was one person who trusted her the most, her younger sister, Lily. Lily believed every word Evelyn spoke. To her, Evelyn was safety. Evelyn was home. One afternoon, Lily came crying to her sister, holding a broken piece of her artwork. I worked so hard. Will the teacher like it? She whispered, her voice shaking. Evelyn looked at the drawing. It was beautiful but incomplete. The colors were messy in some places, and the lines needed care. Lily's eyes searched Evelyn's face, waiting for comfort. Evelyn felt something inside her pull. She had 2 choices, speak the truth, and hurt her now, or lie, and let her break later. She wanted to protect Lily from pain, but she remembered a wisdom someone once told her. Truth is like a surgery. It hurts, but heals. A lie is like a painkiller. It brings relief, but the side effects last forever. So Evelyn knelt beside her sister, took her hand gently and said softly, Lily, it's beautiful, but you can make it even better. For a moment, Lily's eyes filled with tears. The truth stung. It cut through her expectations like a tiny blade. But then Evelyn added, and I will help you. We'll fix it together. The pain slowly softened. Lily wiped her tears, and for the first time she looked at her artwork, not with fear, but with courage. Together they redrew the lines. They blended the colors. They added the missing spark. When Lily showed her finished artwork at school, her teacher admired it deeply. But more importantly, Lily admired herself. That evening, Lily hugged Evelyn tightly and whispered, "Thank you for not lying to me." The truth hurt, but it helped me grow. Evelyn smiled with tears in her eyes. She realized something profound. A lie protects feelings, but destroys futures. Truth hurts feelings, but builds futures. In life, we all face moments like Evelyn did, moments where honesty feels like a knife and lies feel like a bandage. But bandages hide the wound. Truth cleans it. Only truth heals. And sometimes the most loving words are the hardest ones to speak. Because those who truly care choose healing over comfort, growth over ease, and honesty over temper.